We're back. Excuse me, I got a little something in my throat, but we'll just listen to Moses, okay? And I'm really glad to have Moses back. Hi. I'm so glad because last time we ran out of time and you didn't get hardly anything, and I felt so bad about that. So thank you for coming back.
Thanks for having me back.
Yes, it's wonderful. I know this the book is right on the screen there so they can see what it is. It's a very well packaged book, and I want to hear what's inside the book.
Well, the book's about, for those that know, is for the 21 years I spent in the hospital. Mm-hmm. And so I unpack what comes with that. So a lot of issues come with growing up in the hospital. You know, it's not your normal life, you know. So I deal with like the racism sometimes you experience in the hospital, the you know, just the abuse you can receive, medical abuse that you can receive, because all it really takes is just one nurse or one bad person to really ruin your whole experience of your medical treatment.
Oh, that's bad. And do you mind saying what was wrong at the time?
So one time, for as far as my medical abuse, so one time I had gone through a 12-hour surgery, and you know, it was on my intestines, and one of the nurses made me get up, and I didn't want to get up. You know, they took my intestines out, and
oh my god,
and then they put them back in. So they did that with several of my organs. So obviously it was sensitive, and then it might have been like a day or two later. She was like, "No, once you get up." I tried to tell her, "No, I don't want to. I wasn't comfortable with it." And so I got up, and I felt my intestines drop, and I just almost passed out. You know, so things like that do happen in the hospital, and it's one of those things why I've come out with my book and just talk about what stuff that happens and through my speaking too, my public speaking, so that way those that are in the hospital can know, like, hey, some of these things are not right, they're not normal. If you're not comfortable with doing them, you know, don't do it. And as far as like letting them know this is how your medical treatment should be. And another time was when a nurse, you know, this is kind of a very sensitive topic, you know, when I was young, the nurse, I used to get catheterized, you know, obviously through my private area, and so the nurse they had to lubricate it when they do it, and so the nurse did it, and she pulled it out, and I didn't urinate. You know, sometimes you don't urinate, and so that time I didn't do it, and so she got upset, and she shoved it back in me, and then she took it out, and no lubricator, nothing, and then she did it again, and I was bleeding, and she took it out, and then she got mad at me and had me, you know, just leave. And so stuff like that does happen.
Good Lord.
And your medical stuff, you know, medical abuse, stuff like that's happening. It's not right and it's not normal, you know.
You know, that's something you don't think about, that it's not only maybe the food isn't good or somebody wakes me up too many times at night, but there's much more serious things that happen.
And even like something like drug abuse, you know, like, so a lot of times the doctors will just give you drugs, and the drugs obviously not working, you know. Sometimes you need a surgery, or you need physical therapy, you need something else, and it's not working. So next you know it, you're a drug addict. So I grew up a drug addict, addicted to my pain pills and all these things. So a majority of my life I was just high all the time and having, you know, just being out there, and until I quit the habit at about 18 years old. I just stopped. And things like that is something why I wrote my book, you know. And I just write about many issues that come about, you know. So so there's medical abuse and also treatment, you know. You got to make sure you're getting the right treatment, and a lot of times insurances won't cover you, so you have to fight for it, and so your life really depends on it, you know.
I know, my gosh.
And even that could be receiving medical treatment as well, just in general. And so talk about these things. I talk about, you know, bullying, as obviously now today we're in a better world today than we are before, you know. But even then, it could still happen, you know. So I got made fun of because my face was badly disfigured. So I got called, you know, I was called like a monster, and I was considered an ugly baby growing up, and you know, it wasn't like people were wondering why my mom keeping me, and that's just the way how the mentality was. And the reason why I still speak on it is because it could still be there in an isolated area, you know, even though in the world as general has gotten a lot better as far as treating like disabled people, you know. Now it's just a weird thing I see. Like when I was growing up, I had to defend myself. Other than my family defend me, I had to defend myself, you know, growing up, for being picked on and things like that. And this will be after I have surgery and stuff like that. Still, people will still pick on me. But now it's a great feeling to see now if somebody is disabled and they try to make fun of them, you know, people are there to defend them right away. But no, I just talk about how that wasn't necessarily the case when I was growing up.
Oh no.
Yeah, and just, you know, things like that of nature. You know, because for those that know, I have spina bifida, cleft lip, and hydrocephalus, so I had 3 birth defects. So it was really struggling just to growing up, having to deal with. I mean, dealing with one is bad enough, but when you got to deal with 3,
That's for sure.
Yeah.
And that's something that you are absolutely not guilty of doing anything. It happens to you. You know, you didn't do anything that anybody could say that you're not a good guy or something. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, because life is really not about action so much as about reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Things are going to happen in your life, and there's nothing you can do about it. But you do have control of how you do react. And so I could have sat there and just gave up on life, you know, even though I was in there for 21 years. And that's 21 years of my life that, like, stumped my growth, you know. Not having to do nothing, just you're stuck there just having to survive for 21 years.
I don't know how you did it. You're so special. My Lord. 2 or 3 weeks would be enough for me.
You know, you just one day at a time, you know, like I truly had to live one day at a time growing up. You know, it wasn't really you know, it's something like a cliche saying that people say, but for me, it was just my daily life. You know, because I didn't know if I was gonna wake up the next morning or not. I mean, I had times where I wake up and I feel like a little pain. I go to the hospital and I had to have life and death surgery in the next day or two.
Good Lord.
You know, and you just didn't know.
Well, you're a miracle, kid.
Yeah, I just thank God.
You really are.
Yeah, you know, I was supposed to be in a vegetable state, and now I'm able to walk, speak, and do all these things, you know.
God, that's so wonderful. That is so wonderful. You ought to be very, very proud of yourself.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah,
That's a terrible thing to have to go through.
I've always had make sure, like, growing up, having changed my mindset of having alternative methods. So, like, when the doctors told me, you know, I wasn't going to be able to walk, I told myself I'm going to walk in courage. You know, when the doctor said you're not going to be able to speak or speak properly, you know, I was like, you know what? Well, I'm going to speak my truth. You know, and just things like that I've had to learn to.
You speak great.
You know, thank you.
Look at the work that you had to go to be the man you are today.
Yeah, it was, you know, a lot of physical therapy. I would like to say at least over 10 years of physical therapy. A lot, like 19 surgeries at least.
Oh, Lord Almighty.
You know, thousands of little procedures. You know, even till this day, to maintain, for me just to be here, you know, before I even got here, I had to do about 2, maybe 3 medical procedures just to be here. And then, you know, I had to go back home and do a couple more. You know, and it's just difficult. I get tired, you know, I'm just like any other person, you know, I go through my moments. But then I get back up, though, you know.
And then why do some people pick on other people? If, you know, I don't know whether they're sorry that they didn't get it and they want to pick on you. I don't know what it is, but some people do.
Some people are just ignorant, you know, they don't. So a lot of my best friends to this day start off as making fun of me, and then when I educate them about it, they became protective over me, and we became good friends.
Oh, good.
So when I would first start off, I used to just fight people and, you know, get into whether it be a verbal altercation or a physical altercation. But, you know, as you mature and get older in life, you learn, you know, that's not the way to be. And I learned to educate people and just tell them, you know, this is what I have, and, you know, tell them basically everything. And then now that they know better, it's no longer funny.
No,
it's no longer, why am I picking on this person? I now know. And so now I go out as far and speak wherever I can, so to let people know about these situations, so that way, because you don't know who's ignorant, who's not. And so when you begin to educate people, it's not funny no more. Or it's, you know, they stop picking on people.
People, well, all of us have a lot of things to learn yet. You know, you just don't come in with it all in your head. You gotta you have to fight it like you did.
Yeah, it's an ongoing process. Even me, there's some stuff I don't understand, and maybe I make fun of it. That, you know, that's not right. Just because I'm disabled doesn't mean I'm immune to these things. And so that's something that I had to learn and grow. You know, fortunate for me, being on the other end for the most of my life, I have more patience and more understanding. I had to mature more faster growing up, you know. I had to make adult decisions as a kid.
Oh my gosh.
So,
well, now are you doing anything in the hospitals or anything?
So every now and then I'll probably visit somebody, you know, but it's really hard for me to go back to the hospitals.
I was gonna say,
because I probably suffer from PTSD. I just haven't really got any, like, see a psychologist for that or anything like that. But like when I go to the hospital, like, you know, the hand sanitizer, the smells that they have there, the clean smells, it brings me flashbacks of when I was in the hospital at bad times.
Oh my gosh.
And I just kind of, like, when I was recently, like, saw my cousin in the hospital, I kind of went numb for a while, you know, just you're walking in. I was at Valley Children's Hospital, and I was walking through, and I was kind of going through the halls now. I remember when I walked through this part. I remember when I had this surgery here. I remember just going through all the.
Oh my gosh!
And so as much as I want to go back and visit hospitals, it's kind of too much to me at the same time. So I go when I have to, but it's really difficult for me to. It's a difficult process.
Well, I don't blame you at all for that.
Yeah, and it is. It hurts because I really want to go back and help those in the hospital, but. I mean, my book is probably one way for me to do it. If they can get in their hands.
Right, that was the best thing you could have done. Yeah. And I think you get a book like this, and you start talking to other people and talking about what happened to you. Did you ever go to the hospital and have a hard time? And you learn a lot for a book like this.
Yeah, because I was looking for a book myself growing up, and you get books, but it'd be written by a doctor or written by somebody talk about somebody's life that was disabled. And I started thinking, well, what about the person themselves writing it? And obviously, just due to their medical illness, they might not be able to do it. It just depends on the situation. But I was looking at my situation, and I was like, you know what, I can do it. I go, I'm not the best writer, I'm not the best whatever, you know what I mean? I go, but it will be from you to me. The only thing, the difference will be the paper will be the only thing that's, keeping us separate. And so I thought that would be very important to they hear it straight out of me.
Definitely.
And
definitely.
Whereas if it was written by somebody else, there's a disconnect there. There's something that not there is not very personal.
They didn't experience.
Yeah, they didn't experience it.
No.
And so I wanted to do it myself. I was like, you know what? I know I'm not gonna be able to be the best writer, but I know it. If I make it at least good enough, and I go, and it's from me to them, I go, it'll be different. It'll be a different kind of book.
No, but I was looking at it before, and it's very simply done, but very clean and neat, and something you look to say that's very professional the minute you look at it. And it's small enough, like you were saying, a lot of people can read it in a day or something. They don't have to go. With one of mine, it'd probably take you overnight. Okay, so anyway, get this if you can, because all of us have people in the hospital in our lifetime, almost all of us. I've been in the hospital, most of us here, and it's an interesting thing that nobody pays much attention to. So this is really a good thing that you've done, Moses. Yeah. And I'm so glad you came. And when they write the next one, or even when they come on to talk about this again, come in again, because you're very good at explaining things, which is nice. And you're trying to help people.
Yeah. And
I'm very happy that so many people that come in here and talk to me are wanting to help people in one way or another.
Yes.
Because that has to come. That has to come. It can't stay this way forever. There's too many people like you that have learned the hard way, and you're going to tell people about it, and that's important. Everything we learn is important, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I just know there's some kid in the hospital right now wanting to give up and thinking like, man, this is my life. But then they can see how all the stuff I went through and see that I'm an author now and that I'm a public speaker. And, I went and did ministry work, and now there's a life beyond the hospital. But, sometimes they just need that model of somebody that's been through it. Yes, and some words of encouragement.
Definitely. So the best thing that you can do when you can afford it is get these books into the children's hospital.
Yes.
Because you're right, there's a lot of people, youngsters there. And you know how you felt as a youngster. Yeah. So helpless, really.
Yeah.
And, you went and did something. A lot of people wouldn't. They just give up. So let's get this book out there, okay? Yeah. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
And come in again, okay?
I will.
Okay, honey. We'll be right back.
Lord, when I was born, I was handicapped. When I go to sleep, I'm handicapped. When I wake up, I'm handicapped. And I will always be handicapped. Lord, if I wake up tomorrow and I'm not fully healed from this disability, I'm going to kill myself. Hi, my name is Moses Macias, and this is my book, Always With Me.